Welcome to the Careers by Jen podcast, episode 241. Today on the podcast, a conversation between Jen and her guest, Katie Secrist, on how to start a career in sustainability. I wonder if there's a way to get paid for signing all those online petitions.
You're listening to the Careers by Jen podcast. I'm your host, Jen Swanson. This is the podcast that helps you to get the job, love your work, and advance your career. Careers by Jen is a listener-sponsored podcast, and if you like the content, please consider supporting the show as a patron. You can do so for as little as $1 a month. Head over to CareersbyJenn.com and click on support to learn more. Hey friends, welcome to episode 241. Before we jump into the topic, I want to let you know about a holiday special we've got going on here at Careers by Jen. I mentioned this last episode when the show was still called Communication Diva. I was creating communication courses for couples who were about to get married. They were marriage preparation courses. And I was offering these courses live in weekend format, and it was really hard to get more than one couple in a space for a weekend because everyone is so darn busy these days. So I ended up taking the whole program online. And while it is still basically for people who are intending to get married, I've had couples who have been married for years who want to have a bit of a refresher. I've had people who are wanting to live together in long-term committed relationships who have taken it. So it's not exclusively for brand new people getting married. I've had people getting married for the second time who have taken it. And it's basically a communication course for couples with lots and lots of questions for you and your partner to discuss. There's nothing prescriptive about it. I'm not telling you how to be or what to think. I'm asking a lot of really good questions. It's video-based, self-paced, and you can work at it as you like and from wherever you happen to be. So if you'd like to check it out, it's on for 50% off for the holidays, and it makes a great wedding or engagement gift for that special couple that you know. You can go over to careersbyjenn.com/holiday, and you will get immediately to the page where the discount has been applied. This is valid until January 1st, 2020. So it's careersbyjenn.com/holiday, or you can go to the website to my online courses, select the Marriage Works course, and enter the promo code HOLIDAY 2019, and that will get you there too. All right. The next thing I wanted to share with you were a couple of Apple Podcast reviews of the podcast. I have a review here from Katie H. Brooks, and she says, "Great show. There is such a wealth of information in Jen's podcast that will benefit anyone in their career." Thank you, Katie. And then M. Posey says, "Thanks for the work that you do, Jen. Lots of guests bring a unique perspective to educating, coaching, and leading that result in key takeaways for every episode." Well, thank you so much for these reviews. They mean a lot to me, and they help to spread the show, so that helps me to help more people. If you'd like to leave a review in Apple Podcasts, please do so, and you may hear it read on an episode coming to a phone or a device near you. I should have said to a headset near you. All right, well, today's topic is how to start a career in sustainability. And my guest is Katie Secrist. Katie is the Director of Strategic Partnerships at Sustainable Business Consulting. And this topic is so important and so, shall I say, topical, given the state of our world and the state of the environment and climate change and everything else right now. So even if you personally don't want to start a career in sustainability, there's interesting information. It's a whole new industry. It's fascinating to me, actually. And you might know somebody who is interested if you don't happen to be. I think you'll learn something one way or the other. I know that I did. So here is my conversation with Katie Secrist. Katie Secrist, give me a definition of what a career in sustainability means.
That's a great question, Jen. Um, you'll find that sustainability has a lot of different meanings. We talk about corporate responsibility, we talk about corporate social responsibility, global citizenship. There's a lot of words around sustainability, and for us, we define it as both environmental and social best practices for a company. So, what does that look like? Gaining a career in sustainability? Well, it can be anything. It's such a new industry. It can be anything um, from working, internally at a company on operational efficiencies for your energy or waste or water use. It can be working in your supply chain as how do we improve the shipping and transportation or the livelihood of our workers in our factories. It can be employee HR driven. It can be engagement and bringing, how do you bring purpose and values into the workplace? And so those are a few examples of ways that you can start including sustainability in your day-to-day job.
So if you're already working in a company or an organization, is this an opportunity to create a new position, do you think?
Absolutely. We often find as consultants, we're hired in on two different occasions. There's either somebody already working on sustainability within the company, and typically it's a department of one. And so you find that's where our expertise and bandwidth can come in and help. At the same time, there are often situations where we come in and there's no sustainability department. It's either being run out of marketing or finance or operations or directly from the CEO. And what that looks like is finding the individuals within the company that actually have the knowledge and access and really the lens on business knowledge to bring sustainability in to the workplace, and that's where you find you can absolutely create a career within your company if it doesn't exist already.
And so are there jobs out there that are specifically for this? Like, is there a new job title on the market?
There is. The one you'll find right now, it's going to be director or manager of corporate responsibility or sustainability. All of those terms I used in the beginning of our talk here, it's a number of terms. And so there are positions that are coming out. The highest one, corporate sustainability officer, that's becoming not so common, but it is out there. Most of the positions are director or manager of sustainability, or insert other word here. It just depends on how that company is defining their corporate social responsibility.
So if someone was looking to get into a new career, what kinds of tools would they need? What kinds of training might they have that would be useful for applying for a position in sustainability?
Yeah, there's several tools out there, Jen. There's because this industry is really just beginning. I mean, the conversation has been happening for a very long time, but there's really no standards. There's no bar exam, to become a sustainability professional. There's really no, like I said, standard for what it means to operate sustainably or be a sustainability professional. And so with that, it's kind of the Wild West online, and you can find several training organizations such as ISSP, which is a new one coming out. They've been working on trying to standardize what it means to be a sustainability professional. There's also the Center for Sustainability Excellence, and they've been running quite a bit of trainings around the world for Fortune 500s, all the way down to small, startups and people who are just looking to get into it, with a lot of online resources. The other big one is USGBC, the Green Building Council, and they have global training and education, as well as the other one I would mention, just for understanding what's possible for a company and what you should be. If you're looking to bring sustainability into the workplace, here's the ways you can be doing it. That would be becoming a B corporation, benefit corporation. And you can find them anywhere online. They have a pretty rigorous process for what a sustainable company looks like, and have wonderful resources on how to implement at your company.
So because it is the Wild West, if you were someone who had a passion for this subject and wanted, I'm thinking back to the coaching world. I took some coaching training at a post-secondary institution that has a really good credibility and has a really solid coaching program, but I didn't continue on through to become certified by the International Coaching Federation, partly because of time and partly because it cost a lot to be able to get there. And what I'm doing, I'm able to do without taking all that extra. So is it the same kind of thing where somebody can hang out a shingle and put, I'm an expert in sustainability and get hired?
That's exactly right. As of now, of course, I can't say, for anybody to just go around and have that claim, but you're right in the sense that there's no certification that's out there right now that puts the stamp of approval on what you know and how you know it. So really it comes down to, and of course as consultants too, we need to meet our clients where they are, and sustainability and your goals and strategies around sustainability are very different for each organization.
Right.
And so with that, if you're looking to be a sustainability professional within your organization, you really need to know, well, what matters to your organization? Is it operations and cost savings? Is it the marketing and branding aspect and attracting, retaining new talent and innovation? Is it, so you kind of go down the line and find what are those things that are going to bring the most value to your organization, and that's what you should be focusing on and learning. And it really is just, we tell people all the time, it's really just a lens. It's a different lens of looking at how you run your business versus kind of the traditional lens of how we typically look at performance and evaluation and compensation. And it's just flipping that to say, okay, who are we really benefiting in this type of efficiency, or this type of product that we have, or this type of service that we're offering. And it's taking that. So yes, the Wild West, yes, you kind of have to make your own path, and you should be doing it in line with the company that either you're currently working for or you want to be working for.
Right. So likely some business skills would be of asset here.
Absolutely. Yeah. A good solid understanding. When we talked about, what are the types of roles that are out there currently in sustainability, it's often someone that's working cross-departmentally. They're working across every division, bringing people together to talk about how can we pool resources and change the way we do business.
And are you finding that more and more organizations are wanting to take this path?
Absolutely, Jen. Yeah, and that may be, us having our blinders up, but we have seen that there's over and over organizations that are stepping up and saying, and not just businesses, but countries as well, stepping up to say, we really need to do something. It's really on the almost every political conversation. It's up at the top of the list, whether you're agreeing with it or not. And that's what we're looking for is at least some sort of conversation at the country level, at your business and your corporation, to say who's really driving this. And it comes down, what we're finding is it really comes down to consumers, and who what generation now has most of the buying power, and what are they looking for? And it's not only what are they purchasing, but where do they want to work?
So this is beyond putting out some recycling bins.
Right, right. What we find here, you're exactly right in that it's no longer enough. I mean, even just 3, 4, 5 years ago, it could have been enough to put out some recycling bins and say that you purchase recycled paper, and it's no longer enough. We're finding that these informed consumers that are coming out and taking up all the buying power, they are looking for organizations who really walk the talk, and they're integrating it into their business decisions. This is where you'll hear the term environment, social, and governance, ESG, and it's really more of an investing term, but what it's getting at is the fact that you can be working on environment and social matters, but your governance is really where the magic happens. It's not so much about how you put solar panels on your building, or what's the flashy, exciting next thing that you're doing. It's about how are you operating as a business to fold in sustainability principles into your business decisions.
And what are the benefits? I mean, beyond the obvious benefits to the planet, what are the benefits to the organization for taking this route?
There are multiple these days. What we just discussed of consumers and thereby employees that are looking for organizations that align best with their values and are really giving them the flexibility and the purpose to come to work every day. That's one of the biggest brand benefits right now, is attracting and retaining talent, as well as attracting customers. And knowing that you look at a company like Patagonia that says, don't buy this jacket, as we think about Black Friday and Thanksgiving, and they said, don't buy this jacket, we don't want you to buy this, because you can instead reuse, we'll take back your products and repair them, and you can continue wearing the ones you love. And what happened? All the consumers ran out and bought that jacket. And not that they truly believe, they truly did not want you to buy the jacket, but you see how consumers are flocking to organizations that stay true to their values, and it's happening more and more. So there's the brand benefit. Of course, you mentioned the bottom line benefit of just increasing efficiencies. And we find, especially retailers, when you're in R&D, manufacturers, you're in R&D and you're shipping products back and forth, trying to get the right product. Well, 3D printing has completely revolutionized that, because you're no longer needing to ship products back and forth. You can simply just, do it right there in your office and continue to work, and it increases, or I should say, shortens time to market as well. So there's benefits there, and as I'm talking to, it kind of gives you a sense of what all is included in sustainability. What's the breadth of sustainability?
And I know that it's going to just keep going, but there are still so many areas that are far, far behind the trend. I would
Absolutely.
not
Yeah.
even want to call it a trend. I think it's a necessity myself. But yeah, there are so many organizations that are still far behind. I used to work for the hospital system, and
Mm-hmm.
and there is so much waste in a hospital. And as one small employee in the midst of a vast organization, it was really, really hard to make a difference. Are you finding that there are more and more people that are jumping into this?
Yeah, Jen, I love that you bring up the healthcare system. We do a lot of work in healthcare as well, and there's a U.S.-based organization called Practice Green Health that they have a conference once a year, and while the turnout is wonderful, it's all about sustainability in healthcare. Turnout is great. It's really, I would say, is maybe pushing 5%. of all hospital representation, it's nothing at all when you look at the big scheme of it. And it's true. I laugh all the time on this subject because, particularly in healthcare, about 30, 40 years ago, durable medical devices was the only thing that existed. There
Right.
wasn't single-use plastic, it wasn't just throwaway, disposable, this fear of sterilization. And now we find today that we're struggling to get back to that place because of the way it's been, the way we've the tide to single-use and sterile disposables. And so it's absolutely right. By industries, there's certain industries that are much farther ahead and that are moving faster, but at the same time, there's disparities between industries as well, as far as who's moving, who cares, who doesn't. And you're finding, I think we'll see in the next 10, 15 years, what that really looks like as we see more and more consumers and employees, hopefully, leaning towards those companies that are doing the right thing.
It's hard because sometimes you want to support local, you want to buy things that are close to home so that you're not having all of the driving and the flying and the transport costs. And at the
Right,
same time,
right,
it's so easy to go online and order something and have it at your doorstep 3 days later.
right. Well, and this is, it's interesting too to think about the idea of, well, if you have, 30 people driving to and from their local store versus one truck that comes around and delivers all the things that you need, well, there's an argument to be said there of what's the more efficient thing as far as lowering your emissions and the transportation costs. And yet, yeah, there are certain retailers that could care less about what their emissions are on the back end. They just need to get you the thing that they've promised you of that 2-day shipping. But strides are being made, and it's true both from a personal perspective. We find in our day-to-day there are a lot of things too that I wish I could eliminate plastic altogether. I could eliminate waste. I could, and I live in this profession every day, and it's not always a reality. And so it's absolutely true, and that's where we talk about, meeting you where you are as well, and both for as a personal side, but also as a company, and knowing what your limitations are in the moment and what you can be doing now to take kind of small steps to be better, but not feeling like, it's just such a big problem, there's no way I can do anything about it, crossing your arms and sitting on the couch.
I was in a restaurant last week and overheard a person having a conversation behind me who said, well, the only reason I put the green waste in the green can is if I put it in the trash, I'll get fined. But he says there's absolutely no point recycling because it takes more energy to recycle than it does to actually just throw it out. And I just wanted to get up and say, no. But his whole attitude was, there's no point, so why bother?
Right.
And right. I wonder if you run across that in organizations as well.
Oh, we do. We absolutely do all the time. Even if we come in as part of a contract under one division, that doesn't mean the rest of the departments care or are interested or even agree that they should be putting resources towards this. And so we're all the time running into people that are saying, yep, well, we've always done it this way, or we don't really believe that this is going to be better for our organization. And we're constantly talking about what are the selling points for being better environmentally and socially. And you look at the Dow Jones Sustainability Index and the industrial average index, and the sustainability index has been outperforming for the last 8-9 years. And that's that's US centric here, but it's interesting to look at over time how companies that are investing in sustainability have really have truly shown financially to be outperforming. And it's not just from, brand evaluation, but from the bottom line and top line as well.
Mm. So for the person that wants to get into this career, you talked about the different organizations that they could look at as far as training goes. Are there any first steps? Does it take a certain kind of person to want to get into this?
Well, you have to be crazy. No.
Good.
No, Jen, it's certainly the type of person that knows that they're going to get a lot of no along the way, a lot of pushback, a lot of barriers, and you just keep pushing. And it also takes the type of person that is, at least to be successful, that is going to be able to listen and to tailor their message to the person that they're interacting with. So often we run across individuals who have a wonderful point that they're trying to make, but let's say we're all familiar with the whole, well, don't you care about your children? What about your children's future, your grandchildren? And of course everyone does, but if you take that approach of harassing and not think about, okay, what does this person really care about? What are the things that are blocking their ability for us to have a good conversation about this, productive conversation? And that's what we find, is it really takes somebody that can listen to both sides. And that's why we say you really got to know the business side of things, because you need to know what's driving their decisions, and what's going to be, your way in, your toe in, I suppose. So that's one thing. We also, find that the people that succeed the most are, again, those who stay curious. This is such a changing environment. So we find that every 6 months, there's something new coming out. There's something different. The next, new technology or new way of reporting, whatever it is, it's changing all the time. And so being able to stay curious and kind of go out and figure things out on your own, because it hasn't been done for us already.
Katie, how did you get into this?
That's a great question. I had a very direct path, and so I'm certainly not the best example of how do you get into sustainability, although I will say it was essentially, it came down to me putting myself in the situations where I was going to be interacting and engaging with the types of people I wanted to work with, the types of people that were doing the jobs that I wanted to work with. And so for me, I had my undergraduate degree was literally called Business and Sustainability. So where should I go to work? Sustainable business consulting, I suppose. And that's where I say it was a very direct path, but my education didn't necessarily give me all the tools that I needed. I really had to go out and talk to a lot of individuals who were doing this work locally, nationally, get the language down, understand what do you need to know to really be successful in this field, and then go out and have those coffees and ask for thank you for meeting with me. Now, who's somebody else that you think I should talk to? And just getting myself in those circles where suddenly my name kept coming up and up between different people, and that's really, that network is really how I landed my career.
So those informational interviews, as we call them.
Yes, exactly. And luckily for me, most people will say yes to a college student just looking to buy you coffee.
And how long have you been doing this for?
I've been in this role for 4.5 years now.
Okay, so it's fairly new for you too.
It is still fairly new, and that's I feel lucky that I'm in an environment that's changing all the time, because like I said, as long as you stay curious, you continue to stay as the expert in the room, because things are changing all the time. And so that new blood, if you will, actually proves to my benefit. But it's simply because I'm always staying up on news sources and news stories and things that are going on that can help me in a meeting or in a conversation as I'm working towards business development, that say, hey, here's what's going on, here's what's the best thing for you. And again, it comes back to that listening and knowing, okay, I don't know everything in the world, but I know that I can listen to what you're saying and help you work through this and give you the lens and the experience that I have and expertise in this field to apply that to your issues, because it's always changing. It really is.
No 2 days are the same, it must be.
Right, right.
So where can people find out more about you, Katie?
Yeah, of course, I myself have a LinkedIn. Our company, Sustainable Business Consulting, has, you can find us anywhere on the web, but our website is sustainablebizconsulting.com. And we've got a LinkedIn and Facebook as well to kind of stay up to date on what we're doing, what we're thinking about, who are the clients we're working with. And that's probably the best way to find us.
And is that Biz, B-I-Z?
B-I-Z, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Z for Canada, Z and UK, yeah. Z. I always get in trouble with that. And so do you have one last piece of advice for the Careers by Jenn listener?
I think my last piece of advice is just is really to come across with authenticity. And if you're looking for something, for a job in this field, and you don't know everything, that's fine. Being authentic about that and where you're at, but the skills that you have to learn and to really be curious and authentic in your search for a career like this. It is one of the most valuable things that I've learned, and having that behind me as I go into each conversation has proven to be very beneficial. So I think that would be my last piece of advice for your listeners.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for having this conversation with me today, Katie. It's an exciting new world, I think, and a very, very critical one as well.
Absolutely, Jen. I completely agree, although I may be biased.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Careers by Jenn with Jenn Swanson. If you like what you heard, please share this. If every single person listening today shared this episode with just one friend, our audience would be twice as big just like that. And the more people we can help with our content, the better. So help out a friend and help grow our audience by sharing this show with someone you know who would benefit from the content. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that, and together we can make a difference. Until next time, take good care.